Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week we have The Book of Azreal by Amber v. Nicole.
Yay! Dianna is lethal, a beautiful enforcer serving as the right hand of Kaden, a man who never takes no for an answer. When Kaden sets his sights on finding an item that has been lost for centuries, Dianna will stop at nothing to make it happen. Kaden isn't the only one searching for the item, and Dianna must do everything she can to defeat a god and keep her sister safe.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So this week's trigger warnings are fantasy violence, gore, emotional and physical abuse, sexually explicit scenes, death of a loved one, grief, PTSD, eating disorder, depression, and slut shaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't we don't do
We don't do that here. This cover to me looks very dark romancy, but I think it's just like badass fantasy, you know? Like it's not necessarily dark between the characters, but they are metal. Like tell me if I'm wrong, but they're badasses.
Oh, for sure. And I honestly love that she chose not to just have a badass male main character. She also chose to have a badass female main character. And I think that's like super different compared to most of these other books because yes, the female main character is usually strong, but the level of badass that this character is blows my mind. Like, I absolutely loved her.
Yeah, and you know what I thought was cool with her, and we've you see it sometimes, but of course, like the more popular version is where it's like a sweet FMC, and then she finds her strength and it like becomes a warrior. But Diana
Hmm.
is very much like warrior first, and then she's starts breaking down her walls and stuff. But she was gnarly.
Hmm. It just like the first couple of pages that we get of her, it was just like you already know that she's gonna be like, ooh, how do I don't even know who to compare her to. Because there isn't really a character like her because she immediately starts out badass. She's breaking bones and not even blinking an eye. She's busting up freaking the biggest badass that she's come across and not even flinching. Like bow down to this chick because like there's nothing like her. Oh, I love how you put it though, because 90% of the time you do get like a strong female, but she works her way up to being that like inspiring female, you know? I don't know if I want to say inspiring, but just like lethal. We'll just put it
Yeah.
as lethal.
Hmm. As we were saying, we are introduced to Diana, and she is this really rough and tumble kind of like, you know, enforcer for Kaden, who is like top dog. And then he decides that he wants the Book of Azreal. And this kind of triggers a search for this book, but he's not the only one that's looking for it. And so um was it's like a god comes down and is like looking for this book too, and there's like a good versus evil aspect, but you don't know really who's good and who's evil, and like
Literally first come into this and we're automatically thrown right into a battle between who we think is the evil and the good in this book. And of course, like we're thinking the gods are going to be the evil and Diana. Um is going to be, or excuse me, Diana's the evil and the gods are the good in this depiction that we're getting. But honestly, like once you start reading further, like everything's a fucking toss up. There, it is 100% of you don't know who to trust, when to trust them, and even if they are your friend, if they're gonna stab you in the back, and it's a fucking wild ride. But
Mm-hmm.
as we're going through, and this this chick is like, well, give me the Book of Azreal and blah blah blah. Um, the this god that she's about to kill calls out and says this person's going to come back and he's going to destroy the world and bring it to an end. He is literally the destroyer of worlds is his nickname. And obviously she's like, yeah, right, whatever. I don't believe you. And then all of a sudden it happens. Like this guy freaking shows up and she's like, oh, well, shit. And
Yeah.
I love how she kind of introduces Liam as being like a worn out, tired looking guy that still looks all burly and everything, but just he don't look like he's shit. Turns out that's wrong. Way wrong.
You know what I love the most about Diana's character is that, I mean, objectively, she's not the good guy, right? Like she's not a good guy. And we learned that right off the bat where it's like we're in the first scene and it's like, you go kill these people. And so like objectively, she's not like, you know, um very, very um right side of the law.
Mhm.
But you get her inner turmoil, like whenever she does something, it's not just justified, but you can see how it affects her and when she decides that she's not going to allow it to affect her, or why she's doing what she's doing. She's a very sympathetic character even if she's not necessarily a girl scout.
Well, I love that there's a the saying that monsters are still monsters even if they're pretty, because that's so true. But at the same time, it's like when you have someone like that, it's like they could not be nice, but they're still a good person or have good qualities. And they kind of showed that side of her. She did have good qualities, just not all the time. She wasn't always good.
Well, and also that you can be pushed into something, because I think that if you have a character like what was that one dude's name in the book where um fire Onyx Storm,
Mm.
there's
Oh,
that one dude where it's like he did everything right, like
uh-huh.
quote unquote what was right, and then it was like it that made him into a bad guy. And for Diana it's like her doing the bad things is kind of like, it doesn't make her a good person, but it makes her, in my opinion, a more like noble person.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Because she really did try to do the right things at some points. Further into the book, she started doing more of the right things, which is where we get the gratification of her not exactly being the bad person.
Mm-hmm.
But
So Liam is the god guy, and he comes down and he's looking for the book too. And you know what I love about his character? I love this. This is my biggest note of the book, is that Amber wrote him. So in the story, he had something had happened, then he like went away for centuries, and then he comes back. And so he doesn't know, like he doesn't know what words mean. He doesn't know what like things are. And so his buddies have to literally translate for him what people mean when they say things. And it was so funny because there were times I listened to it on Audible, and there were times in the book where it was like listening to a male Anya from Buffy.
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
like the words that she uses are so concise and whatever. And it was literally to me like listening to a male Anya.
I didn't even think of that. Well, obviously you've seen Buffy a heck of a lot more times than I have, but oh my God,
Mm.
that's too funny. I love that
But I love that it
comparison.
was brought up. Because
Yeah.
there's so many times where it's like, oh, this person is like a celestial being, and then all of a sudden they are speaking in slang, and it's like, okay,
Hmm.
so we're bending, reality a bit. And there's been a couple of times where I've been reading a book and I'm like, oh, how do they know what that is or what that means or whatever?
Hmm.
Well, in this book, he literally had translators.
I think one of my favorite parts was like when she called him like a dick or something, and he's like, "Well, I assume that's euphemism for my actions, not my body part." I'm like, dude, thank you for this.
So
Uh,
funny.
or the part where he's like, "How's your throat?" And it had nothing to do with anything like sexual, but oh God, so fucking wonderful.
This book was way funnier than I thought it was going to be going into it. And I even messaged, well, I didn't message, I even posted something on threads about it. What did I post? It was like, now, ladies, you're both pretty or something. It
Yeah.
had me cracking up. Like, there were so many times in the book where I was just like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, there was the comedy between the two characters was just unreal. Like the banter and everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of reminded me of like how you and I are when we're just like shooting the shit, like just but at the same
Yeah.
time, like their banter was just so fucking perfect. Like I needed those laughs exactly when I did, but it kept you invested in the story too because it
Yeah.
made them feel more human. Like you felt more connected to them.
Even though neither of them were.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
That's fantastic.
So I have to bring this up because every book usually has like this kind of like cute nickname for the female main the FMC.
Sure.
Now, like in Fourth Wing you have violence and then there whatever. There's a
That one's
couple of them.
cute.
I love that one. Well, I thought it was really cute that he kept calling her a vixen. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like, I love that. I don't know why. It's so simple. It's so cute, but she's a vicious little vixen. And I'm like, oh, but yeah, just a quick little thing.
Yeah, Little Vixen was cute. I love when they have little I love when they have creative pet names.
Mm. Yeah, because doll and, sweetheart, and that it gets old.
Schnookums.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't heard schnookums in a while.
Schnookums. It reminds me of that video or that audio that they used to put on all the videos of the little kid saying, "You're my schnookums."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Uh, that's so funny. One of the things that I really liked about the way that she wrote this was the incredible amount of world building that she did, but she didn't make it boring. Like,
Right.
I was so actually invested in the fact of the different worlds and how they got closed and like how they lived lives differently from one world to the next. And I was honestly I wanted more, but at the same time, she gave me the right amount to keep me hooked, but not bore me. And that's like super hard, especially when you're doing fantasy books like this.
Well, and especially too, I think that she probably divvied it out beautifully. I mean, you said it perfectly. I I'm the one that struggles with fantasy. Um, I don't know why I stopped. I don't know why I paused. but I'm the one that struggles with fantasy more, with like the world building, and even I didn't get bored. Like
Hmm.
I at first struggled. I was like, oh God, no. She kept me invested, and I think so. This book is book one of. Well, I'm confused, and I didn't do my research, but in this book, she said that it's book one of five, and then
Okay.
on Amazon, I know Amazon, but we support
Oh,
authors and authors are on Amazon. But Amazon says that there's four books, so it's either four or five. Um, but I have a feeling that the way she divvied it up is going to be perfect so that it organically shows and reveals more and more as the books go on.
yeah, I agree. And I can't wait. Honestly, like it's really tough to find that fine line where you have not only the world building but character building because like the character every character that I met in this book, I was like, "Ooh, I love their backstory. I love this person and this person together because she gave certain like a husband and wife character in here the perfect like yin yang balance. But
Hmm.
Diana's sister even like
Gabby.
these they were all really good, fully rounded characters. Like I can't handle the amount of creativity.
You know what I loved about Gabby?
What's that?
What I loved about Gabby was that she wasn't the annoying little sister. Like she they had their moments and they had their, times of being really in sync and times when they were like at odds, but she wasn't she wasn't that annoying little sister. Like you liked her.
Yeah, I
It's like
can
she
totally.
added to the story.
Yeah, because she was feisty as shit. Like she never once like was that annoying bratty like, oh, why me? It was more like a what the fuck? Why aren't you taking care of yourself? Why aren't you because she presented herself more as a big sister, like trying to take care of her which is her big sister, but she presented herself as that older sibling that's like, you need to do this. Why aren't you doing that? Do the right thing. Blah blah blah. Let me live my life.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a sister, but I feel like that was probably an accurate representation.
Ill.
You're my hetero life mate, so get away
I
from me with
was
all that noise.
I was like, so what the fuck am I? Like, what am I, chopped liver over here? Like, what the fuck? Shit.
Listen, you.
I was about to go fight in you.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
oh gosh.
All right, Jen, what is your favorite character?
So I had a hard time with this one because I equally loved both the FMC and MMC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I absolutely love Diana for being like that super sassy badass. Um, but at the same time, like I love Liam because he was literally so patient with someone who was clearly so broken. And like I know he was equally as broken, but at the same time, like the amount of patience he gave her was just incredible. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So,
I dig it. Yeah, I liked both the FMC and the MMC as well. I liked the side characters, like the friends, you know,
okay.
um, especially his friends.
Oh, Logan and Victor.
Yeah, there was that moment when, at the beginning when um, I didn't like their characters, but they were funny. The guys that said that had that little now you're both pretty moment.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but they're not good people. I liked Gabby. I don't think I had a favorite. I really liked Dianna though. You know what's funny is there were more than one there was more than one scene where she reminded me of you. Like the things that she said, I was like,
So
ooh.
I didn't want to say it because I kept calling her such a badass and everything, but I did I did
God
see a couple of
forbid.
no, I did see a couple of points where she yeah, she was being her sassy little self and oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Did you have any favorite quotes?
I did actually. I had four.
Oh, it's weirdly
Yeah.
specific.
Oh well, they're right in front of me. That's why. So the first one was there was no point in saving me if I can't even live. Next one, why was I not surprised? He wasn't lacking in that department either. Why couldn't it be small and not particularly a third leg?
Yeah, I actually really liked their okay, so I one of my favorite things in books are things that other people that irritate other people, but it's the dream aspect. Like
Yes.
when messages come in dreams, or when like in Beauty and the Beast, like when she meets him in dreams, like I love that dream aspect. And that was very prevalent in this book.
Oh yeah, the blood dreams and all that. Oh, so good.
Gross.
Yeah. Um, So next favorite quote was when she passed, I would have pulled the entire universe apart to bring her back, but I knew it was wrong. Resurrection, no matter the circumstances, is forbidden. You do not gain something so precious as a life without paying a hefty price. There are some things that even we can't afford. And I'm
Mm,
like, that was such a sweet moment for to show how much you love someone and how much you would do for them, but knowing the right and wrong behind it.
yeah.
Um, but the last one was I was dreaming of a man who gave me pretty dresses and prettier words, as if my world weren't fire and hatred and pain. Gods, was I so desperate for even a crumb of kindness? And ooh,
Yeah.
that would kind of hit home.
Yeah.
What about you? What were your favorite quotes?
Let me see. Hmm. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba. Okay. Um, Ew, weird. I highlighted four too.
Ah,
That's weirdly specific. Of course, the better to die by what you think is right than to live under a lie.
mm,
Um, in chapter 19, the quote is, "That's not a quake, that's my sister." Oof. Oof. I love it.
yes.
I love it when people are badasses. Um, what's the one? Oh, in Charmed, when Phoebe turns into the banshee
Oh
and the
yeah.
house starts shaking and the scream comes, and she's like, and Piper's like,
And
Phoebe's
what's that?
home.
Yeah, I actually just watched that episode like not even a few days ago.
Really?
Yes, because
uh,
oh God, I've just been in a like a charmed kick again.
Goddesses, all of them.
Mm.
um oh, I okay, so I also have a soft spot for when something small means something bigger. And he said, "You swore with a small finger that you would not leave me behind when you dealt with these quote unquote friends of yours."
Oh
You swore with a small finger.
yeah, that was so
Um
cute.
and then when he says, "I doubt I could be around you long term, you're far too invasive and intrusive." Crack
Oh.
me up. So, real quick, the Book of Azreal is book one in the Gods and Monsters series written by Amber V. Nicole. Books one through three are currently available, and book four is set to be released August 5th, 2025. If you want to learn more about Amber, check her out on Instagram and threads at amber.v.nicole. That's AMBER.v.NICOLE. All right, Jen. Well, the time has come to make an announcement of sorts because we are not going to have a book next week.
No, no, we aren't. And we won't have a book the week after. No, just kind of.
Or the week after.
We're just changing things up, and that includes changing up our format and how we do things, which includes not talking to you through a podcast.
Yeah, um we've decided to make the change. We are no longer going to be recording episodes or releasing podcast episodes. Um we started this journey almost 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that it's been incredible in terms of like setting us up for things that we want to do and meeting friends and meeting authors and reading incredible books we would have read if we didn't have the podcast. But there are other things that we want to do, and so unfortunately the podcast is no longer kind of conducive to that. So we're not disappearing. We are going to take a couple weeks off to revamp. We're changing everything up, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so exciting.
Yeah, we're both really excited about the changes, but you'll hear from us, just not our voices. That's all.
So, thank you everyone for being on this journey with us and listening to our podcasts and supporting us because um, we started this shindig as a fun thing to do between best friends and got a whole community out of it. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.